Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk Savannah. I'm here with Kate Powers, and she is a local therapist in town who's kind of giving traditional therapy a cool spin. So before we dive into that, do you want to give me a little background about you and how you ended up in Savannah?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a new therapist. So I graduated in December from Augusta University. So I am currently still living there part-time, and then I commute here for Thursdays and Fridays to do in-person sessions. But I'm going to live here full-time at the end of May.
I think what you're doing to promote your services is awesome because I found you on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I think TikTok's become a mode for people who can't afford to go to therapy. But I stopped scrolling when I saw your videos because you're doing local walk and talks.
Yeah.
So if you want to kind of give us a background of what that is, but also how did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, for sure. So walk and talk therapy, it's basically, stepping out of the traditional office setting. So typically I would have sessions right here, but we can walk to Forsyth, which is, a 10-minute walk from here, and do therapy that way. So it's, quite literally walking side by side and doing therapy that way.
Yeah.
So,
and I feel like for me personally, going to an office is a little bit intimidating.
It
like
is.
To sit down and talk about your feelings.
I know.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth, but
For sure.
I find like when I move my body, that definitely helps me kind of relax and open up. And I don't know, my brain kind of can go into like autopilot and then I can start talking. So this sounds like a great session for me.
Yeah.
How's that been with going around Forsyth? Like, are you familiar with Savannah? Or is it just because your office is closed?
So yeah, I didn't grow up in Savannah, but like my husband did. And then I have friends here. So I've been to Savannah a lot. So I'm familiar with Forsyth, but yeah, we are really close. And that's honestly what the owners wanted. So the owners also love the walk and talk idea. It just wasn't as promoted that way.
Right.
So I think they picked this location for that reason.
Right. And can we talk about who the owners of this awesome building
are?
Yeah.
So it's Chris and Corey Williams. The practice is called C. Williams and Associates. So it's a group private practice.
Got it.
So.
And for everybody who wants to know the location, it is next to the park, but it's right behind Kroger.
Yes.
Which I was surprised, like parking was really easy. It's in one of those beautiful Victorian houses that's been redone.
Yep.
So that's really cool, especially because it's so close to the park.
Yep. It's off of Bolton Street.
How was the experience of like getting started with walk and talks? Obviously it's a little awkward doing therapy in general, but like were you starting with clients that you've already started work with, or like did you start fresh? Or obviously it's a little different. So like how was that integrating?
Yeah, I got you. So I wanted to do an intake. So the intake's the first session in person, like in office or virtually, because there's a lot of questions I have to ask in intake. And so it's like, I'd rather just kind of do the paperwork and all of that before. So a lot of the people just saw my TikTok and then became a client. And then we had one session before we did the walking.
Right.
So.
Okay. So they knew they were signing up.
Yes. Yeah, and there's like a whole consent form that I made for it, to deal with like risk of confidentiality, safety stuff, physical too. I'm like, people need to tell me if they're not feeling well. There's no obligation to walk for the full 50 minutes. Like we can do half in office. So it kind of goes over all that.
Yes. And so you say you have like remote sessions in person in the office and walk and talks. Like, are there any other services you offer? Or can you tell me? I've never been to therapy. So really like any pieces of info you have. Yeah,
I also do 15-minute free consultations. So that's nice. It's through Psychology Today, which is where you can find therapists. Okay. A lot of people have a profile there. And so that's a good way if someone wants to know if I'm a good fit and if they don't want to commit right away, I can do free 15-minute like virtual call.
And so for somebody who's never done therapy before, asking for a friend, what should we be looking for in a therapist or a counselor?
So yeah, I like to say that it's kind of like speed dating.
It is though.
Yes, because everyone's so different. Yeah. And I think, it's really nice to have bios. So like, every therapist will have a bio, whether it's on their practice website or Psychology Today. It really depends on like what approach you like. So you might not know all of the types of therapies and everything. Yeah. And so I guess seeing how they word the way that they want to help people, right? It's like, this is my approach. And if it's something that you're like, ooh, okay, I do want to explore my thoughts and feelings and behaviors, or I love the somatic approach where I want to do mind-body connection stuff.
Right.
Or I have trauma that I want to work through, they'll be able to put what they work with, which could be a good thing to look for.
Yeah. And are there any like indicators that people should look out for? Like maybe if they're going through something, they should seek help?
Yeah, I think, well, usually like whenever you think of like diagnostic criteria for like mental health, like illness, right? It's when it impacts your daily functioning, or if you're noticed like, yeah, I'm not able to do what I usually do. I'm not finding as much pleasure in things, or my relationships are kind of falling apart, or I feel isolated. I feel like those are some good indicators if you're noticing like your social life, personal life, work life being impacted.
Definitely.
So.
I've been trying to catch myself if I go into like mind loops where you just like can't turn your brain off about something.
Yeah.
But once again, my therapy's DIY. So
we'll get you started with someone.
Exactly.
But I will say also, you don't have to have like a mental disorder to start therapy, right? Some people think that, and that's like a thing that I try to debunk is like, you don't have to feel like you're mentally ill,
yeah,
right?
I feel like you're
like you can
broken
view
in
it as,
some
a lot
way.
of people view it as self-care and like maintenance. Like, this is a way I want to take care of myself, or like, I don't have people in my life that I can really talk to. So I just want someone to talk to.
And I think vulnerability is a really difficult thing. People will lean on their friends for support or kind of friend therapy. But at the same time, I think especially in relationships, it's good to have like a non-biased third person who like can just straight up hear you out and not carry out those viewpoints as your relationship develops or crashes.
Right.
You know, do you feel like you do relationship therapy at all, or is there someone in your practice who does that?
Yeah, like I'm open to couples. I will say I haven't done any couples therapy, but like I do a lot of work with people like with relationship issues. So I usually do individual counseling, but we do have at the practice a marriage and family therapist.
Very cool.
But a lot of the practitioners or clinicians here do see couples. So on our website, everyone's listed, and you can see the types of therapy that they provide and everything, like kids too.
Yeah.
Children's therapy.
I was going to ask children's therapy as well. I see you have a friend there.
I know. Well, this is for my young adults. We love it too. But I do have a background. My internship was at a child advocacy center, so dealing a lot with trauma and abuse, and I worked with kids solely.
So what is that like in comparison to seeing an adult client?
Yeah, it is really different. I mean, with the setting I was in was very specialized. Like, it's one type of, population.
Right.
But I think with adults, like, everyone has like what they enjoy more. I feel like with me, I like adults because I can have like, I don't know, I want to say deeper conversations, but I also like with kids, you can incorporate games and play therapy and stuff like that, which you still could do with adults, but I feel like you're able to
I feel like
have.
Sometimes it's easier to get a kid to open up than an adult, but depends on the trauma.
True. Yeah. I guess teens kind of fall in the middle.
Yeah.
I also work with teens. The trust there is super important.
Oh my God, I was like a locked box when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So the trust issues never left fully, we'll talk about it.
but once you do like crack that shell, like it's just like the most rewarding thing ever. So
definitely. And I think that going to therapy is a good investment for your mind and your mental health in the future.
Yeah.
And I just love how I found you on TikTok, and following your account's kind of given me a new perspective on therapy, that it doesn't have to be so like regimented and like systematic. Your relationship with your therapist is like a friend. It's going to take time to discover all of the things under the hood.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of therapists in training, like going through school, we kind of are told to be blank slate, not really self-disclose and things like that. But a lot of therapists are realizing like, hey, this is how I build relationships.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm really glad I found you and that you're putting out your work on TikTok, because I know in the past when there have been hard times in my life and I've tried to sign up for therapy, I didn't feel like anyone I was finding was compatible and like similar could relate to me. A 60-year-old man, I'm sure, is a fabulous academic, but like probably can't at the time go through my college problems as a 20-year-old girl,
right.
So I love that. Obviously you have a lot of range, but the people I've met in your office too can serve a whole different group of people. So
yeah, and it's okay to have preferences too. Like if you want to connect with, you can say like, I'd rather see like 25-year-old girl or versus a 6-year-old man. Some people want to see.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what is something that has like surprised you since starting Walk and Talks?
Yeah, I will say it's kind of new. So I started March 20th.
Okay, this is new.
It is new. Yeah. So that's like how I started promoting it though. Right. And so, but I have noticed like, I'm getting feedback from them, right? So they're like, oh, I'm so glad like I stepped outside today and I did this, because I'm noticing a lot of people that work all day, stay-at-home moms aren't able to move their bodies.
Yes.
And so they're really liking to be able to combine it. And so that's been really nice. And I've noticed too that I was worried about it being too populated there.
Right.
But I've been able to find a great way to like kind of maneuver in a way that I'm still listening to the client.
Yes.
So
definitely. Yeah. I know luckily Forsyth is big enough.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough room for all of us.
Right. Yeah.
So I will bring our conversation to a close, but I did want to ask, how's your experience been promoting yourself on TikTok or just therapy? TikTok's a hot, trendy topic. So.
It is. Well, that's why I started, because with private practice, like, you know, you build your caseload. And so I was like, I'm just going to, it was, you know, in January, I'm going to let go of being scared of being cringe. And I'm just going to like put myself out there on TikTok and social media. I'm not, you know, I've had social media personally, but I'm not really someone to do that.
Yeah, it's vulnerable.
It is. And I'm like, I'm just like, let go of the cringe. It's fine. Someone's going to like it and someone's going to, you know, want to work with you. So it's been really fun. I love creating like marketing and stuff. I've done a lot of that in jobs. And so it's a great way to like spark my creativity as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I feel like your videos are definitely circulating through TikTok. And what I love is there's a lot of people in the city who use it. There's a lot of groups who are still on the Instagram train, but I do think TikTok's a really good way to get like direct advice or hacks on life, how to get access to like local resources and connections. Like I never would have thought of a walk and talk therapy session, but I'm glad I scrolled and found you.
Right. Yeah. And if therapists like that listen to this, if they want like an idea of like the consent form that I made, that can be helpful because really anyone can do it.
Yeah.
If you're a therapist. I mean, you want to have like a great place to like walk around, right?
Definitely.
Like we're very lucky with that.
Yes. But I do think there's a lot of value in moving your body and, you know, taking time for your mind. So, and I'm glad you could meet with me.
Yeah.
So how can we find you? Okay. I guess, how do I find you on TikTok? But also how do I, like if I wanted to book a session?
Yes.
How do I find you?
So my TikTok is The Powers of Therapy, 1220, Kate Powers, The Powers of Therapy.
Love it.
And then on Instagram, I think it's just, The Powers of Therapy. And then all of my Psychology Today is linked there, as well as the C. Williams and Associate website. So I'll be listed as a provider there. The contact for the office is there as well. And my email is in all of my bios. And Facebook. I'm on Facebook too.
Cool. So. I love that. You're all over.
Yeah, you gotta be.
That's great. And so I'll let this come to a close, but do you have any like parting words or advice for someone who may be a little intimidated to start therapy?
Yes, I think that it's very valid to be nervous. And like whenever we are able to, the phone call, I feel like to initially start is the hardest part, right? And so it's like, if we can like figure out how to make the phone call, maybe we need a buddy to sit there while we make the phone call. Like people that work at the front desk, like they do this all day. They'll make sure that you're set up and ask you the right questions. And it's okay to not feel like you vibe right away with your therapist, but give them a couple of sessions. The first session is going to be, you know, getting a lot of information. And so, I think just like step out of the comfort zone if you can, and if you have the means, and it'll go better than you probably think after that call.
I learned Brene Brown's one of my favorite thought leaders, and she talks about like vulnerability and how like some of your most rewarding moments happen after you take that risk and are vulnerable.
Yes,
so,
love that.
Yes.
Agreed.
Well, I'm really glad you got to take some time to sit down with me, and I hope that myself and some viewers can learn more about your sessions.
Yes, thanks for reaching out.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate.